Quilts are flying, colors splash. Pins and patches, stories grow. Stitching secrets we all know. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time. A spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our life. Sewing tales with every square. Buttons falling everywhere. A crooked seam, but who will care? Iron presses lined so neat. Friendships quilt can't be beat. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time. A spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our life. Sewing tales with every square. Buttons falling everywhere. A crooked seam, but who will care? Iron presses lined so neat. Friendships quilt can't be beat. Patchwork of laughter sewn in time. A spool of joy on every line. We chat, we sew, we laugh, we thrive. Stephen and Walter, our life. Our life.
Stitch by stitch they weave the tale. A patchwork life where laughs prevail. Patterns clash, but who can tell? Quilted chaos suits us well. Stephen and Walter live on air. Threading humor, they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings. Life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around. It's a show where joy is bound. Stephen and Walter live on air. Threading humor, they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings. Life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around. It's a show where joy is bound. Stephen and Walter live on air. Threading humor, they don't care. Teaching, chatting, pulling strings. Life's a quilt of funny things. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around. It's a show where joy is bound. Pins and needles, jokes abound. Sewing secrets they have found. Fabric flying all around.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
And hopefully everything's coming through and you'll be able to hear us. I got the mute turned off today without Walter's help. Not that there ever is any help.
I watched him today.
Yeah. Yeah, you watched me and then you got away. Okay. Yep, we've got sound. Good.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Hello.
That's good. All right. Everything's working. That is good to know. I'm a little flabbergasted right now, or a little shook up, because I bought something from Etsy today and I got scammed. I'm pretty sure I got scammed. Anyways, good thing it was only $3.84. But I'll talk more about that, not today. I'll talk about that next week on Idiot Quilter. So who have we got joining us? We've got Nina is here. She is number one. And Dana, she's listening on her balcony. Dana, I hope things are going okay with your eyes and everything. You'll have to let me know. Suzanne is here, watching from rainy and cool day. Mona is here. Caroline is here as well, and Gloria. John is here from Art East, and Betty, and Charlotte. Joanne G is here. Judy Hubert is here as well, and Sherry. Karen is here. Good timing for a nice respite from the heat in Vancouver, USA. It's really not that hot right now. It's only 17 degrees, but it's raining.
It's raining,
A lot today. So let's see, going down here. Karen B is here. Hi, Karen. And I'm sure others will be joining us. Yeah, today's topic is a little disturbing once we get to it. So, and maybe some of you know what it is I'm going to be talking about. Maybe some of you don't from the title, but we'll fill you all in later. Susan is here. Hi to both of you, watching you from a beautiful warm evening in Devon, UK. Okay, and Inez is here. And Sue Norfleet is here as well. So everybody is coming in. So let's first of all talk about what we've been working on. And I'm just going to give you a little sneaky peek here. I'm going to talk about these things in a little bit more detail come Tuesday on the Idiot Quilter. But you know, I am trying to create a Japanese themed quilt. And I've been hitting a few brick walls creatively. Now, I already showed you the other day my evolution of the kimono thing, like from this very first thing that doesn't look like a kimono. Well, it might suggest a kimono. Get my cursor. Where's my cursor? There it is. Right here, this first one looks more like a plane or something. Then I had this one. And then I tried this one, which looked a little bit more, but Walter said it looked like a dress to him. Didn't realize the part at the top is basically supposed to be the sleeves.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but now when I look at it, yeah, all I see is a dress too, and those white parts are supposed to be sort of a collar to this kimono.
Well, that looks more like where the boobs are.
Yeah, I know. So then I looked up actual pictures of kimonos, and I tried this, trying to create my own version of that. That didn't work out, so I just gave up. I found some paper piecing for this, which I liked better, but you know, I do not like foundation paper piecing. I got working on these. I thought maybe I do like it. No, I've decided I don't like it. This was the first one I made up here at the top. That wasn't actually Japanese fabric. I was just trying it with scraps. Then I made it out of some of my Japanese fabric. And yes, they look a little bit more like kimonos, and they're not bad. But as I said, I'm not that fond of foundation paper piecing. But I carried on, and yesterday we were at a sew day, Walter's sew group, and I had found this pattern for making a fan, which is okay. But again, paper piecing. And I found a couple of others I tried, and I got really discouraged yesterday. Well, just because I don't have any patience, and he's quite right. When it comes to foundation paper piecing, I have no patience. I find it tedious, I find it repetitious, and I don't really like the end product of it. To me, it's not quilting. I'm sorry, but to me, it is not quilting. Quilting is patchwork. Foundation paper piecing is its own category.
It's a type of patchwork.
It's a cheater's patchwork.
What do you mean cheaters?
Well, it's how
it's a different technique.
People who have a hard time getting points.
Yeah,
do
but isn't
paper
it
piecing.
for shapes that are hard to make with piecing?
Yeah. But look at what John does with Art East.
Yeah, I know.
His are not paper pieced.
Yeah.
And he manages. So, yeah. So, anyways, I'm still toying with what I'm going to do with this. I found this applique embroidery of a fan, which I quite like.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
And I made it in 3 different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also looked at some
Shishiko?
ones too. I haven't tried those yet that have a different design. So I'm going in a little different direction. I don't know if there will be any kimonos in this quilt. I'm thinking I'm going to go more towards the fans because they kind of show off the fabric a little more so. I don't know yet what I'm doing. I have no idea. And it kind of frustrates me.
Is there any embroidery things that show kimonos?
Yes, but they all have cutesy little geisha.
Oh,
and they look like dolls, and I don't want to go that route. So I'm still exploring things here. We shall see how this works out. So what did you do that yesterday at the soda?
I started another short, and this one will be for me because Steve doesn't like green. And
well, no, it depends, but no. I mean, I like that.
Okay, now I got to find where
Like,
I pinned the front, so now, and I had it down packed this on upstairs, but now I can't find. Well, anyway, this is fabric.
well, this is your hole for your collar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it your
Oh
neck
yeah,
hole?
hang on. There's the neck. There we go.
Get yourself organized here.
Okay, there it is.
Okay, no one can see it.
Yeah.
So
Still not holding it right.
no, you're not.
There, that's it.
So you gotta get the collar on it and your
Yeah.
other stuff, but that's the basic shape.
Yeah, and it's
Uh,
ferns.
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 Oh, you know, it would look cute. A kitty poking its head out of the
Yeah,
ferns.
Well, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should create an embroidery pocket with a kitty on it.
Oh, you could. You could. That might be. That would be fun. That'd be exciting. People have suggested that here before. But anyways, so yeah, we didn't get a heck of a lot done, either one of us yesterday. I went through frustration, and Walter was just being a little social butterfly.
Yeah, I get talk to people.
You were just bouncing all over the place, chatting up a storm, which is not as usual.
My
MO.
people.
Your people. Yeah, your people. We had quite a few people there.
Yeah, quite a few people. Normally there's only about 5 of us, right? There's normally Mark, Brendan, myself,
and
Stephen, and Gail.
Yeah.
And we had
Marla,
and
then
Karen.
Karen, yeah.
And then we had
a new person,
a new guest.
Noah, who was
which...
actually doing Noah is, I believe, is transgender, and they were working on some hand embroidery, and it was really nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And I guess they had learned from
they did it. It was a freehand embroidery, their own pattern.
Yeah,
and it was really nice.
Yeah,
it was an abstract, and it was about 3 or 4 different abstracts that was taken from was inspired by some artwork that.
You got more information out of them than I did, because when I was speaking to Noah, they said that that they had learned from. I'm having trouble with the pronouns. I'm trying to do it correctly. They had learned from their grandmother or something, and had done. But it was really nice work. So I see a few other people had.
Noah said they would be there again.
Yeah. So I think we made Noah feel comfortable.
Yeah.
In amongst the group.
Yeah, so. Considering it was new.
Yeah, it was a new.
It's a new group for Noah.
Them. For Noah. Yeah. So Yeah, I'm trying to be politically correct.
It is hard to say that word. Anyway.
Try being an English teacher and doing it. So, yeah. Everything in my body screams that this is you are not putting this together correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. So Susan has joined us. I already said hi to Susan. Then Susan Norfleet. Jeannie is here, and Jen is here as well. Inez says, yes, it looks like kimono to me. And well, yeah, they do look like kimonos, but I just don't like paper piecing. I'm sorry. Just it's not my cup of tea. Bonnie's here. Hi, Bonnie. And oops, I flipped up. Where'd we go?
It didn't go up very far.
Oh, okay. Oh, Sue Norfleet says the fans are cool. Yeah, I think those are kind of neat. It's like playing with dolls cut from the catalog paper piecing. Yeah, true. And I never played with dolls. So
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
Oh, just the easy bake oven.
I didn't even get to play with that. I had to sneak over. We know that story about me being an easy bake oven in the closet kind of cook. Quilter 7939 it says howdy back. Beautiful shirt, Inez says. Laurel's here. Good afternoon, Laurel. And Quilter 7939 loves the shirt fabric. So does Gloria. Inez says, don't put a collar on it and it will look like it's Japanese. Yeah. Oh, I hate collarless shirts.
That's why I don't never liked them. The Nero collars
or whatever it's called. Randy's here. Likes the fans. And Walter, have you been practicing on the long arm? Well.
No, actually I haven't been. I have to start doing that again. I have to, I haven't been staying up as late, so I need to get some time to do that.
No, he's been getting up early in the morning for him. Like 9 o'clock he's up, which is like, wow. And that's been going on since we got home from Japan. So it's not jet lag anymore because we're over that. But whatever. Kanata Home Y2S said, good afternoon. YouTube unsubscribed this person and had to wait to... Okay. Oost? Not sure what that is. Well,
okay.
Yeah, if you're not a subscriber, it is set up for the chat on here when we do a live that it won't let you on for about 10 minutes or something like that. Faith's here. Hi, Faith. So, anyways, those are things we've been working on. I've been working on some other projects too. We've been invited to the annual summer concert by Walter's nephew and his wife for their two daughters, our great nieces. And you've heard us talk about them before. Every year they have this little concert for the family kind of a thing. And they're very good musicians and they play a variety of instruments. And every time we see them, they're playing something new. I think they're both play guitar and one plays that
hurdy-gurdy.
The hurdy-gurdy. Yeah. And I think they've got trumpet involved now too, don't they?
Well, yeah, and I don't know.
And flute.
Apparently, my niece has joined the group as well. So I'm not sure what she's playing.
What's Karen? Okay, we don't have...
Well, I was told, but I think it's might be a sax or something. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
A regular band in there in the family. Well, anyway, so I'm working on these portfolios. You know, the felt bags. Well, I think I've shown you before that they came out with. Actually, we're scouring some dollar stores today, and we only found one more. I'm trying to stockpile. Yeah, portfolio.
You said bags.
I said that's what they're like, the bags.
Oh, okay.
Clean out out of your ears. And only had luck finding one today, but I'll keep looking around. I've got a few in the reserve, but anyways, I made the two girls. Always like to take them a little something, you know, after their little concert. And I've got two duffel bags for them. It's the Holland duffel bag. I made two of them way back when, and I think they're really nice. And they're just sitting on the back of a door. So I'm not going to use them. So I thought, well, the girls might like those. So we'll I'll give them those, and that'll make them happy.
Not a home said post, not oost.
Oh, okay.
It was oost. It
Oh,
came
I
out
get it.
oost,
Oh,
but it's
post. Okay.
Okay.
All right, that makes sense. Joanna is here from Maryland. Maryland. Thank you, Inez. And yeah, I mean, I could give them a quilt, but I've already given them quilts. And I'm not really sure how thrilled they are with quilts.
No.
With it. Never heard. They're probably not even on their bed or anything. I
Oh,
don't
who
know.
knows?
Who knows where they are? Well, whatever.
I don't know if my nephew's wife is any better and has gotten better with housekeeping.
Yeah. Well, say no more. Say no more.
I don't know. We have never really been invited in the house.
No, that's true. Now, the one problem with this whole thing is they're having it. They usually have had it on a Saturday. This time they've put it on a Sunday. And they have put it at 2 o'clock on the last Sunday of this month. And you know what happens on Sundays? This. So on, I think that's the 28th of June.
Yeah, 28th of June.
There will not be a Stephen and Walter live on the 28th of June.
We decided, we were talking about changing the time, but we decided that it would be too difficult to do.
Well, we don't know how long the little concert's going to go on for and everything. And usually, you know, they order pizza stuff and stuff like that and everything. It's kind of a family event. So we didn't want to feel like we had to rush out for it. So, and if we put it later, that maybe throws everybody else's timing off too on here because everybody's used to this being on at a specific time. So you'll have one Sunday off. However, on the heels of that, there will be another live, and that live will be Monday Morning Coffee with me, because I do that Monday will be the last Monday of June, and that's when I always do, well, not always.
I thought you always did the first today.
No, I do the last. I did the first of this month, though, because we weren't here for the last one in May.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Stay with the program. Do I have to send you an email? Wouldn't matter. You wouldn't read it. So, yeah. But we'll remind you of that when we get a little closer in a couple of weeks' time to that. Pat's here. Hi, Pat. Yeah, well, especially, Pat, these kids, because they're teenagers now. One's just finishing grade 9, and the other one's going to be going into grade 8. And, yeah. What do you get? Kids. I don't know. But, anyways... And as says, I asked my grandson if he wanted me to make him a quilt. He said, no, thanks. I have enough blankets. Oh, you used the B word. Disown him. Write him out of your will, Inez. Really. They are not quilt worthy. Well, I've got a couple like that too. Now, speaking of which, I was thinking the other day, I suppose if this lasts, my nephew has finally moved out of the house. Recently, like in the past week, and he's moved in with his girlfriend. She was being evicted from the place she was in because she was renting in a house, I think, or something, and the people who own the house have decided they want to sell the house, and so she had to get out. But a friend of my nephew's, he has a house, and he is renovating the basement to make it where he wants to live, and the upstairs of the house is all, of course, done and everything like that, and he wanted to have people in it that he knew, and so he knows my nephew and offered it to them at a fairly reasonable price for rent. So they're moving into there. So I'll give it a little bit of time, and if it looks like it's going to stick, then maybe I will make them some sort of housewarming gift, i.e. another quilt. My nephew already has, he has 1 or 2 quilts.
Yeah, and I think you gave her one too.
I did give her one as well, so they're well quilted up. But when the divorce comes, who will get the quilts? I don't know.
That's what you're assuming.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Adam's here. Hi, Adam. And Sally is here as well. So, yeah, those are some of the things that we've been working on and more to come. I suppose I should start thinking very soon about getting pieces cut for the next month in the Art East quilt. Yeah. I had a little problem. My teddy has a flat head and a broken neck. And a spot that I don't know where it came from, but it's there in the quilt. But it's unique. It's cute. Yeah. That's what I keep telling myself.
The deformed teddy.
It's the deformed. It's a well-loved teddy. That's what it is. It's a well-loved teddy. Yeah. Okay. So announcements, things coming up. Sewing Wednesdays. We were a little late last week. I mean, the regular crew were there. I know nicer weather, people want to get out and about and that kind of thing. But in case you're bored, come join us. You don't have to be there all day. You know, suit yourself. Come and go as you please. And it looks like the next pop-up sew day now, this will come out in an official email when we get closer to date, is going to be July the 11th. And that's going to be the special one I have once a year that I call Stephen's Birthday Bash Pop-Up Sew Day. And that one always has a few prizes as well. So, I know it's my birthday. You're supposed to give me gifts, but I give gifts. So but write that in your calendar. That's going to be July the 11th. We got dates for other things all confirmed now, so I was able to make this a more definite thing. But as I said, when we get closer to the date, I'll send out more information about that. And yeah, you'll all be the first to know. So on Monday Morning Coffee with Stephen this past week, talked about Pride Month because it is Pride Month and some issues about that. I did a little pre-recorded rant near the end about, you know, why Pride is important to have. It's not just a fun time and a parade. It's politics, and we talked a little bit about that last week as well. On The Idiot Quilter, talked about whether or not I have my Sojo back. Kind of, but not completely there. And I think part of the problem is I make things and then I store them. I have nowhere to give them. Like, I need a purpose for making things now. Not just because I like making them, but it would be nice if I could find some outlets for them. And yeah, I've been through the charity group things and whatnot, and that doesn't work out very well for me. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the time of the year, you know. It's holiday time. Well, it's holiday time all the time for us, but you know. And on So Chatty, we talked about two topics, both stemmed from subscribers. One was about using the Stripology ruler. I made a 26-minute video showing you how I use it. And I think a lot of people were getting their Stripology rulers out of the closet. I had several people say that they had owned a Stripology ruler for several years and never used it. Kind of an expensive toy not to use. But they seem to be inspired by what I showed with it. So that's a good thing. You know, if you've got something laying around, you should use it if you've spent money on it. And we also talked about, this was generated by some comments, about what makes a decent YouTube presentation. And we weren't using us as an example of a perfect presentation. But, you know, we've all seen bad presentations, and that is stemmed from the AccuQuilt presentations I've seen on YouTube, which suck. And several of you said you found that they were not helpful either. So that's there if you missed it. Okay, let's see. Jackie is here. So good to be here. Good to see you. Hello, everyone. Faith says, oh, a double wedding ring for the possible wedding.
Your nephew.
Yeah, right, Faith. You're funny. You're so funny. Chris says, raffle the quilt to us. Yeah, you know, that's not a stupid idea. The problem is shipping.
Mm.
It's the shipping. I would more, like we did for a while back, before things got really crazy. Once a month I was having a draw on here for a mystery box of 3D prints. And now shipping's just gotten out of hand. And to ship across the border, because
just the 3D print boxes is expensive.
Is like $35.
Yeah.
To send it regular post and it weighs next to nothing. It weighs under 2 pounds. And yeah, it's just astronomical. I'm sorry, people, but I'm not made of money. You may think we are, but I am not. So imagine what a quilt would cost. I mean, I remember when I shipped a quilt out to BC, so here in Canada, for my great niece.
And it wasn't a very big quilt.
And it wasn't a big quilt, it was a baby quilt.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And it wasn't that heavy. And I forget, I think that cost me about $70 to ship to Vancouver. So, or to Abbotsford, actually, BC, which is same diff, Vancouver-ish. So yeah, I would dearly love to be able to do that, but it's just too expensive. So yeah, so sorry about that. Ruth's here. Hi, Ruth. Okay. So let's talk about, meanwhile, here in Canada, what's been happening in the news. Well, the great orange pumpkin is threatening us with more tariffs, isn't he? Mr. Tariff. That's how he's going to go down in history, besides that and being a big asshole. So they've threatened us with another 10% tariff on all Canadian goods. If we, because we have forced labor, don't you know? That's his latest excuse for his tariffs around the world. Forced labor. Well, you know, on the one hand, he's doing something. We know he's not doing it for the right reasons, though. We know that. But let's just pretend for a minute that he was a nice person, and he's doing it because he sees something that is harming humanity and is immoral. Forced labor. But we know that's not why he's doing it. And we do not have forced labor in this country.
No, he's just doing it to get around the court ruling.
Because the court turned around and said you can't just do that. Now, it has forced our government, though, to look into this. Because although we don't have forced labor, there may be some things we import that are the product of forced labor. So he has his trade advisors, our prime minister has his trade advisors, looking at this and trying to address this. And I think what he's going to come out with is some sort of legislation or something to companies saying that if they are getting products from known forced labor sources, that they will be penalized or they won't be allowed to deal with those companies or to sell their products. I don't know how far they can go with that kind of a thing. But the Great Orange Pumpkin is just using it, again, to get around what the court said he couldn't do. So, yeah, he puts it on there all the time. And, of course, the Gordie Howe Bridge, our government has delayed the opening of our bridge. Trump can't get it through his head yet that there was absolutely no American money at all, not 1 cent put into that bridge. That was all Canadian taxpayer money that went into that. They did hire, they did get some products for it. They bought from American companies.
Even got some labor from
Michigan.
Michigan to build their side of the bridge.
Yep. And the deal with Michigan was that after the tolls that were going to be charged on that bridge, after we got our money back from that, then all the future tolls from that would be split 50-50 between Canada and Michigan. But because Trump's big rich buddy who owns the Ambassador Bridge and is making billions off that, went and cried to Trump about it, Trump's right there supporting his billionaire friend, and of course he's trying to skim it off the top for nothing. It's not going to happen.
And to the point now that apparently a lot of the truckers are refusing to use the Ambassador Bridge because the Ambassador Bridge is a lot more expensive than the Gordie Howe Bridge will be to drive over. And they've jacked up the prices, and I guess, and not only that, it's so busy and congested to get across the bridge that it delays the truckers from crossing.
Which costs money.
They are driving 100 miles out of their way to go to another location
to go in
cross.
further into Michigan to
To
to cross at
Sarnia.
Sarnia.
Yeah.
There. So yeah, but he's also using this and Trump is using this as part of the negotiations for Kuzma, for renewing it. And Carney's already said, no, we're not going to be held hostage with this. Some people, and when I say some people, some Canadians who do not see the long picture in this,
The big picture.
the big picture, that's the word I wanted, big, long, whatever. Sometimes I like both. But don't understand what Carney's strategy is. Well, it's pretty obvious. Carney's has turned around and says this is not going to be a negotiation item because that would be giving in to Trump. Trump has no legal or any other kind of pull on that or claim to that bridge. It is not his. And even the Michigan
section of it.
Governor is.
Yeah. Even the Michigan governor, it was a done deal, and they said that Canada would pay for the bridge, and Canada would collect the tolls on it.
Yep.
Until the bridge got paid, and then once the bridge got paid from the tolls, then the tolls that are being collected will be divided between Michigan and Canada.
So I mean, pretty sweet deal for Michigan.
Yeah, because they get a bridge bill.
Yeah.
And it's no cost to them, and eventually they will get a profit from it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what he's got his little ugly head up there. So moving on, but before we do, I think we've had some other people join us. Charlotte is here. Hi, Charlotte. And I think that's I'm not sure who that is. Bronca Abalasic Tyranny. Just having dinner, okay. Jackie says, I just shipped a large lap quilt by UPS. It was $60 USA. I can't even with the latest with Trump. Yep. M's here. Hi, M. Ruth says, Trump doesn't realize the U.S. imports 60% of our crude oil from Canada. He's such an idiot. Yep, exactly. Debbie says, dang it, dang. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date. Better late than never, I guess. Well, yes, Debbie, that's true, and you're here. So, other news. The federal government here in Canada has unveiled a new strategy designed to make Canada a global leader in artificial intelligence, while tech companies are voicing concerns over proposed lawful access surveillance legislation, which I'm not sure what that is. But it's nice to see our prime minister, our government is not putting AI on the back burner and waiting to see what happens. They're being proactive with it because it is quite controversial, as we all know. A lot of it has to do with their great big, what do you call them? Their centers, their data centers.
Yeah, data centers. They're processing centers for AI.
Yeah, which supposedly are not good for the environment. They use massive amounts of water. Now they're claiming, no, those were the old design. New design, no, much more eco-friendly. Yeah, do we believe that? No.
I'm not sure if they used to be the high-end computers were water-cooled, but
yeah,
I don't know if they are now or not.
Well, that's what they're talking about, though, still.
I'll have to ask some of my techie friends.
So I don't know. But I guess the whole point here is AI is here to stay, and it's going to become, and it is very rapidly being integrated into our daily lives. So, we have to accept the fact that it's not going to go away. It doesn't matter who screams what or who does what. But at least if our government can get in front of it and put in some controls to it, it might not be as disastrous as people are predicting it may be, the naysayers with it all. There's no two ways about it. AI is a problem in our world. But we developed it. Humans made it. So who knows? Keep it away from becoming the next Terminator movie in real life. Now, you know, the high price of food, of course, you hear about that every day. And it's a real thing. So our government has put in something called the Grocery Benefit Distribution. So eligible Canadians began receiving a one-time GST top-up this week as part of the government's new grocery benefit. Okay, you have to make below a certain amount of money a year, basically the poverty level. I'm not sure what the cutoff is. Is it 30,000 or something a year?
I don't know. I can't. I would just speculate. I'd have to look into that.
And it's not a lot of money that
No.
people are going to get, and it's a one-time payout. So you know they'll buy one green pepper with it, and that'll be it. With it, but at least they're trying to do something, and this is more or less a what do we call it?
Publicity stuff.
Publicity, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is to try and appease people from
Yeah.
saying that they're doing something.
The fact is, it's not our government's fault these prices are so high. It's because of the way our grocery system works here. It is basically owned by about 3 major corporations, all the grocery stores, and it's a monopoly. And they're just making fist over fist of money. They try to claim that, oh, well, they don't make money from the food. They make money from their shelf, like what their shelving space.
Shelf placements.
Yeah, and that stuff. No, but we're still paying high prices for food. And then, of course, it's the whole thing in Iran. It's this, it's that.
It's the gas prices.
And the gas, it's Trump. Yes, all those things are influencing it. They are for sure. There's no two ways about it. But what can a government do about it?
I mean, we traveled a bit after the pandemic. We traveled to Australia again, and they were having the same problems with their groceries going up like crazy. So
it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
But at least what he's doing is he's acknowledging the fact that this is a problem for Canadians. He is not ignoring it. And some might say he's just paying us lip service, but he's paying us something for it. So who knows? Maybe down the road there'll be more that they can do. What? I'm not sure with it. And even if this war in Iran ends tomorrow, prices aren't going down.
Well, they're not going down fast, that's for sure.
No, not even oil. A lot of people think, oh, that's over, everything goes back to normal. Nothing is going to go back to normal. What is normal? We haven't seen normal ever in history. It's not normal, the word we should use. It's what we get used to. I mean, we're used to paying high prices on stuff all the time. It's inflation. Everything's gone up. And it goes up all the time, doesn't it?
It has historically gone up.
Yeah.
All the time.
I remember when a loaf of bread was only a nickel. No, I don't. But I'm not that old.
I remember getting a bag of chips and a pop for 25 cents.
Yeah, I remember going to the Saturday matinee. I had a quarter that got me into the show, and I got a pop and a bag of chips. Yep. So, yeah, those days are over.
Yeah, I worked part-time at the local cinema when I was a teenager, and it was $3.25 for an adult to get into the cinema.
And we thought that was a lot of money then. So, yeah. So, I don't know. At least it's something. And then, of course, there's FIFA, right? Now, with the World Cup approaching, it said Ontario, that's our province, raised the maximum resale fine for tournament tickets to $25,000 to curb price gouging, while FIFA faced criticism for its own premium ticket prices and water bottle bans inside the stadiums. And do you think that's going to make any difference? You got to catch the people reselling it, or the companies. Well, good luck. And the way some FIFA fans are, they are blind to it. They'll pay any price to get a ticket to FIFA. So, you know, it's supply and demand right there. And this thing about you can't take bottled water here in the stadiums. It's probably the same for all the stadiums, I guess. And because they'll sell you bottled water in the stadium. That's a price gouge. Now, some people say, well, you know, it's so you don't smuggle in alcohol. Well, you can buy alcohol.
Yeah,
in
but
the
then
stadium.
if you smuggle in a bottle of water that is actually a bottle of alcohol, you can get pretty toasted on that. And then they start
Yeah.
fighting and making
Well,
a
guess what? They'll
ruckus.
get pretty toasted no matter what.
Yeah, but no, but they're, I mean, if they get visibly drunk, they're not going to sell them beer or whatever at the stadium.
You think?
Well, I don't know. I think I don't, I think that what they're trying to do is control the amount of consumption.
I think that's being too optimistic. I think that's part of
Well,
it.
that's part of it. The other part is they want to sell their own stuff.
That's right. For it
I
all.
mean,
We saw one thing where a bar owner said that he got a cease and desist order from the FIFA thing because he was not officially sanctioned to be able to use their logo. Like all the bars are advertised, see the game here kind of a thing, right?
but they're
That's what
not
they do.
allowed to call it World Cup.
No.
They're not allowed to call it FIFA. They may say the big soccer game. I think they're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
But they can't use the actual name unless they're willing to pay them a premium.
Big money. Yeah. Well, they can always say, "Hey, come to our bar and watch grown men kick their balls around a field."
Like if you go to McDonald's, they have all kinds of FIFA advertising, but they're a big sponsor of it. So
yeah. So it's crazy. It's just crazy. And I just saw something, and I don't know how true it is on YouTube. I'm not so sure how reliable the source that had posted this is, but they said that in the States, they have not sold as many tickets. The hotels are complaining that the projection for selling rooms and everything is nowhere near as much as they thought. People are not going. They're boycotting the stuff in the States and stuff like that. So I guess time will tell.
hotels jacked their prices up 3 times, and so people probably looked at the prices and said, "No, I'm not doing that."
Well, they were kind of suggesting this was more for political reasons. I'm not sure which, but yeah. So let's see. Ruth says, well, heading toward the midterms, national debt has increased. Inflation is the highest it's been in years. Social Security is in trouble thanks to big, beautiful bill passed last year. And Debbie says, the elitist wins every time, pisses me off. And Dana says, normal's just a setting on the dryer. Is it, Dana? Have you
I
ever
don't have the normal.
We don't
on my
have
dryer.
a normal on our dryer. That's what the off-kilter crafter always says. Ian always says, But then I got thinking about it the other day. I don't know if I've ever seen a button on my dryer that says normal. So I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's still a cute saying. Adam says, some venues here, you can buy a bottle of water inside at nearly 8 pounds a bottle. If they take the cap off and throw it away, it's clearly people can't be trusted with a cap on the bottle. They take the cap off. Oh, and throw it away. Oh, okay. Wonder why that is. So, I don't know. That's kind of weird. There's got to be a reason for that. Ruth says lots of empty seats at the FIFA game. So that's what I heard on YouTube.
To keep them from whipping a full bottle of water somewhere.
Oh, maybe. That could be. Who knows? It's not all, like we said before, all this money could have been put to good purposes, not evil. Someone criticized me who thought that I was being too critical of FIFA. Yes, I'm not being too critical, but I'm definitely being critical for sure. I mean, no one's going to convince me that this is a good thing. Nobody will. I feel the same way about the Olympics. Oh no, I'll be attacked. Yeah, go for it. Whatever makes you happy. So speaking of attacks, there was a article. I'm just going to find it here.
Adam says, I think it's to reduce the force of a thrown bottle.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because the water would squirt out and that kind of, and so if it hits somebody in the back of the head, maybe it won't hurt as much. That could be. Let's see. Oh, fart. What did I just do? That's not what I want. Oh, yeah, that's what I want. Okay. All right, so there was this headline. Hackers conned a chatbot to hijack 20,000 Instagram accounts. And we're just talking about AI and having to regulate it. Apparently, AI was used to hack all these accounts, and it just wreaked havoc for a lot of people. This whole article, I'm not going to go through it. But this is one of the scary things. You know, we have enough scammers in the world. Now the scammers have AI that helps them, and I guess it helps them quite conveniently.
And it's finding weaknesses in other programs.
Yeah, it's finding the ways they can get into what are supposed to be secured. So here we go. This is going to be, I think we're going to hear more about this kind of thing in the future. But so, you know, I'm glad that our government at least is trying to be proactive on all of this, because they need to be. Let's see. Sue says, my Samsung dryer has a normal setting. Oh, makes me smile. Not much is normal in this house. Okay, so there you go. Sue's got a normal. And Ed says, Adam, they could swallow the cap, I guess. Oh. And choke to death. Okay, enough about that. Okay, so today I thought we would turn our attention to something a little bit more serious. It's not AI, it's not technology, but it's scary nevertheless. And I just want to find my stuff. Here we go. Okay, so I am sure many of you saw or have read the book, The Handmaid's Tale. And so just for those of you that may not have, where you been, under a rock, I thought, first of all, just the premise of The Handmaid's Tale. This is a book by a Canadian author named Margaret Atwood. She wrote it in the early 1980s. In fact, it's one of my favorite books. I have read it many, many times, and I have taught it many, many times in high school, to high school kids. It is considered science fiction, although what she talks about in this book is starting to come true, which is spooky. But some of the main points about The Handmaid's Tale. So basically, it's in the near future. The United States has had a civil type of war. It's been between the extreme right and the rest of the country. The country has been split, and now the extreme right rule part of the United States that they have now renamed as Gilead. They've become a very Bible-based society, very fundamentalist in their beliefs. Women no longer have rights. Men are in complete control. Women have been divided into certain classes. One of the classes is a handmaid. The handmaid is basically a woman who still can have children. Apparently, also at the time of the society, there has been a nuclear event that has made a lot of people infertile, and that kind of thing. And so these are women who can still bear children. So they are basically assigned to commanders. These are the elite of the ruling class, and used for breeding purposes to create more children. Once the handmaid has had the child, she is shipped back off to a center to be repurposed as a handmaid for somebody else. It's kind of the dog breeding kennel kind of idea. There are other women who are too old to bear children or can't, who may be used as household servants. Then there's an elite group of women who train the handmaids, and basically training means teaching them how to obey, and their masters, and they're called the aunts. And then there's the wives, and the wives are women who are married to the commanders, the elite class, but they themselves cannot have children either, but they have authority within the society, or status, not authority. They have status within the society because they are married to a man who has authority. So basically, women don't have any rights in here. And
they're not allowed to read, right?
They're not allowed to read. They're not allowed to have jobs. Their roles are assigned to them at birth, basically. And yeah, so it's gone back hundreds of
To
years.
the Dark Ages.
To the Dark Ages. So the primary points in Handmaid's Tale is rights are fragile and can disappear overnight. We think in our society today that no, we have all these laws and everything that protect us. Here in Canada, especially, our human rights code and everything like that, well, they can be easily stripped away. In the United States, we have seen prime examples of that. There in the book, there is a group called the Eyes. They are basically the authority figures that are commissioned to go out and find anybody who's breaking the rules and punish them. Not unlike the SS in Nazi Germany. Okay. Extremism weaponizes language and religion. So they use biblical justification in the way they interpret the Bible to keep everybody in control. Basically, they base what they talk or their rules upon the Old Testament, which is much more severe. The New Testament is, that's Jesus and forgive and love thy neighbor and all that kind of stuff. Well, they don't really go with that. They control the language because they've renamed everybody. That there's handmaids now, and the Marthas are the ones who are the servants, angels, salvagings. They do all this kind of stuff. They have public executions for different things that people may have done that have gone against the biblical laws. And then complicity and self-preservation drive oppression. The center point of the book is tyranny cannot succeed without the cooperation of the oppressed. So basically, the women are their own worst enemies in this book, and they have women controlling women for whatever reasons that are there. So, yeah. And complacency, rent it lives. Before the coup, Offred, this is the name of the main character, and her peers ignored the warning signs of rising extremism because they were comfortable. Offred famously reflects, we lived as usual by ignoring. We lived in the blank white spaces at the edge of print. And I think that is the central theme of, in one sentence, of Atwood's book. That if we ignore what is happening around us and think it's just going to go away or things are going to give it a little time and everything will correct itself, well, that's wrong. It won't. And all of these things there, we can see the parallels. It's scary. The parallels between The Handmaid's Tale, remember, science fiction, and what's happening in the world today, especially within the United States, as we all are too aware of. But then, so I just did that because I came across something I didn't know existed. And it is called The Turning Point. And it is a movement. I saw this on YouTube. It is a movement for women. It is led by Erica Kirk, who was Charlie Kirk's wife. And if you remember, Charlie Kirk was an extreme right, had a lot of political influence, and he was assassinated. Well, she's taken up the cause, and she has these conventions, and they're all women at them. And you need to go on YouTube, and you need, actually, I saw it on the National. National is our national news network. So legitimate news. And it was scary. These women believe that they should be subservient to their husbands. They don't need to have a right to vote, which is the 19th Amendment of the American Constitution, which women fought for 100 years ago, fought very hard for suffrage to get that vote. And they believe, well, they don't need to. Their husband should have the vote. He represents them, and they trust them. They also don't believe women should enter the corporate world. That women's primary job is to raise children, look after her husband, maintain a household. Hello, the 1950s are calling. I mean, how can any woman believe that? I mean, it's ludicrous, but they interviewed these women and they all look like little Barbie dolls. They've all got that, what do you call it? The, what's his estate called? What state in Florida? Trump's state.
Florida.
No, in Florida. His
Mar-a-Lago?
Mar-a-Lago, that's it. That Mar-a-Lago look, pouty lips, blonde hair, and the makeup on it. They all look like Stepford wives that are there, and then they open their mouths, and they're just idiots. Just idiots. But they are convinced, and it's not 10 or 20. There are hundreds of them attending these. Very, very scary. So I looked into what this movement is all about. And the more I looked into it, the more I could see the parallels to The Handmaid's Tale. And it's just scary. And so I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but just what their core principles are. Free markets and capitalism. So they, basically they believe in making money. I mean, yeah, lots of people believe in making money, but they do it at the extreme, like at, personal gain, wealth, becoming elitist by way of your money. Limited government. They want individual liberties and strict constitutional adherence and minimal state intrusion in commerce and personal morality. They want the government out of their lives. But that doesn't work because the government's already in their lives. So
I think what they're saying is that they don't want like the human rights code.
Right.
They don't want to be dictated to say that this person, well, I mean, with the gay and lesbian thing, that it's okay to be gay and lesbian.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want people being dictated to that. If I don't believe in that lifestyle, then you shouldn't be telling me that it's okay.
And you should support me.
Yeah.
And that's where the next point is. The anti-woke and cultural combat, actively fighting against diversity, equality, equity, and inclusion, which is the DEI thing, programs they have in the United States, which a lot of that Trump turned around and said, you can get rid of those now. You don't need them. And gender theory and what they term as woke classroom ideology, where, kids are allowed to express themselves. And if, for example, if a kid decides that they are in the wrong body, that they are transgender, well, they're saying no. And, you've heard them all say the ludicrous thing, my kid goes to school in the morning as a male and comes home as a female.
Yeah, well, one of the women interviewed in one of these things said, I don't want them to cut my son's penis off. Seriously?
Yeah, really. And then Christian nationalism, increasingly aligning with the Christian right, emphasizing that human rights originate from God rather than government, and partnering with thousands of churches. Yeah, and this is a key point that's in The Handmaid's Tale, that whole Christian right thing taking control. There are other people in the world that aren't Christian, but apparently they don't count.
And there's other people in America or in Canada that are not Christian.
Yeah. Then they have their policy positions. They believe in supporting the National Rifle Association, the NRA, and oppose gun control measures. That's always controversial. Energy protection, backing the continued use and expansion of fossil fuels. In other words, they don't believe in global warming and they don't believe in the environment or anything like that. And Trump, that's exactly Trump, what he's done as well. Social and family issues, condemning abortion, okay. Opposing LGBTQ and legislation, champion traditional family structure, men as head of the households. Oh, wow. Let's go backwards in time. Immigration, supporting strict border enforcement and heavily criticizing illegal immigration. Yeah, they may criticize illegal immigration, but ICE has been rounding up people that are legal. So they're racist. Basically, that's just their way of saying if you're not white, you're not welcome. And education reform, pushing to defund or divest from traditional universities, which they labels islands of totalitarianism.
Totalitarianism.
Oh, you were having trouble with that one too. And supporting alternative patriotic history curricula. Basically, universities have been always, in all of history, university was for free thinkers. Universities encouraged people to think outside of the box. Most of the greatest discoveries we have had in the world, in our civilization, have come from free thinkers that have been encouraged to do exactly that, think outside of the box. That's what has helped our society to progress. It's what has helped us find cures for certain diseases, has created innovation in technology that has helped our lives. We'll talk about AI and all that kind of stuff. And they want basically limited education, like The Handmaid's Tale, where the women are not taught to read or write. Same thing. Because if you can control the education of people, if you can give them only enough education that allows them to serve whatever ruling factor that's there and no more, then that is a way to control the whole scenario and the whole population. Now they're infiltrating into campuses now. So campus elections, quietly funding and training conservative candidates to run for student governments to redirect university funds away from progressive student activities. So there you go. They're trying to control what happens at the universities from within, right through the student body. Because let's face it, students are stupid. They don't have enough world experience yet. And university is one place where you're going to find a lot of so-called activists, because they're all young, wild, and they all want to fight for a cause, but they don't necessarily always fight for the right ones because they can be manipulated. Ballot chasing. Through TP Action, the group deploys hundreds of field organizers in swing states to legally track and collect mail-in ballots from low propensity conservative voters. In other words, they're stealing ballots. They're creating illegal or election fixing in there. Well, that's been happening. Alternative culture, creating parallel media and entertainment infrastructures, such as hosting the All-American Halftime Show streaming event in 2026 to explicitly counter mainstream cultural events. So here is your creation of your fake news, or what they call fake news. Creating their own media, and there's tons of examples of this. Just go to YouTube and you'll find it. It's hard sometimes to determine what's fake and what's real. They have an opposition, of course, to abortion. There you go. That's a woman's right. Her body, her right with it. No, not anymore. Like in The Handmaid's Tale. Once the handmaid has had the child is whisked away from her. She does not have anything to do with it. It's gone into a commander's family. That's it. She's over with. She was just breeding material. Rejection of the workforce. It says here, before Charlie Kirk's death, frequently advised young women to forego corporate careers, claiming that birth control and career ambition made women angry and bitter. Critics label this rhetoric as regressive and harmful to women's financial independence. Okay, women, what's one of the common complaints women have about entering the workforce in corporate and they can't get ahead? Is because men treat them like they're inferior. There's the expression, oh, if she's angry today or out of sorts, it must be that time of the month. Well, that's what they're preaching. And subservient gender roles. In other words, they see that men are superior. And what do they base that on? The Bible, the book of Genesis. Who got created first, according to Genesis? Men. Why was woman created? Well, first of all, she was created from a piece of a man, Adam's rib, and God created woman, in certain readings of the Bible, to be a
Wait.
helpmate or servant. Well, I don't think they use the word servant, but I'm not sure. A helpmate to Adam. But that has been interpreted as being inferior and that she should take orders from a man. And that's what these ones, the Bible thumpers, go for every time, that women are inferior. And it was a woman who destroyed paradise. She tricked Adam into taking the forbidden fruit. And that's why they got kicked out. It's all her fault. And it's not just in the Bible. There's sexism in mythology too. Pandora's box. It was a woman who unleashed evils into the world. She was told, Pandora, don't open that box. But Pandora opened the box and everything came out. So you see, they're going back in time. They're saying, yeah, women are inferior because of these things. And then they've got this controversy between, or not controversy, conflict between femininity versus feminism. And they call feminism the critique of feminism. They had a summit in June 2026, it said, and they argued that modern feminism is a worldview that treats many of the things that make women uniquely women as obstacles to overcome. They claim that feminism forces women to act like men, rendering marriage and motherhood secondary. No. In a liberal thinking world, what they're doing is showing that women are equal to men and should be treated equally, equal pay. Their ideas should be heard. They should have an equal education. All of those things. They're saying no. And an evaluation.
Elevation.
That's the word, of motherhood. The organization teaches that woman's highest and most fulfilling callings are marriage and raising children, framing these traditional roles as empowering choices rather than patriarchal oppression. No, they're patriarchal oppression. Why are they saying that it's a woman's responsibility to raise children? I mean, it takes two people to make a baby, right? Shouldn't it be equal? Equal parenting. It should not all fall on the shoulders of the woman. Yeah, back in the 1950s, it did fall on the woman because the man went out to work, women didn't. They stayed in the home, looked after the home. Well, we all know how that turned out. So they're going backwards in time. And then transgendered women.
So obviously, an unmarried woman shouldn't be allowed to exist.
That's right.
Yeah.
And neither should transgendered women because it's biologically not right. So they shouldn't be transgendered. This is where Trump gets off and the other ones in here about transgender stuff, that they shouldn't be allowed into, like, and they're talking about male to female transgendered people, shouldn't be allowed in women's sports or in locker rooms or shelters or bathrooms or all that kind of stuff. Who are they hurting? Who are transgendered people hurting? I don't understand. They aren't hurting anybody.
And not only that, they're not a huge amount of the population.
Yeah, it's I don't know what the percentage is, but it's
I
very,
think it's
very
less
small.
than 1%.
But even if it was higher than that,
Yeah.
who are they hurting? In fact, if transgendered people are openly accepted within our societies, then I think makes a contribution to our society, because these people are not having problems with mental health because they're being told they're wrong, that they shouldn't be this way, that they're freaks. They're being allowed to live their true lives, and they can put all their energy into not surviving, but into thriving and to contribute to society.
In Canada, transgendered is estimated as 0.19%.
Yeah, 0.19%. Less than 1% of the population are transgendered. Why have they suddenly become, in the United States, a huge issue that needs to have laws passed?
Because it's something that scares people.
Yeah. Well, the unknown always scares people, but get to know them. I mean, they're not a threat. The perception that Turning Point wants to take away women's voting rights stems directly from the speakers and ideas showcased as flagship events, most notably the Young Women's Leadership Summit. And that's the, I think the thing that I saw on the national there. And it was, you need to see it. It should outrage everybody. It should especially outrage women. And down there, so they all have Christian nationalist ties, of course, with other ones. And these Christian nationalist ties are all ruled by men as well. It's all part of, and most of this is part of Project 25, which has been created by extreme rightist men. The debate on voting privacy before his death, Charlie Kirk frequently courted controversy by fiercely criticizing political advertisements that reminded women their votes are private from their husbands, arguing such rhetoric actively destroying the sanctity of marriage. In other words, if a woman should not have to tell her husband how she's going to vote if she doesn't want to. I imagine the reality in most households today is that they know how they're going to vote. But if you turn around and take away the vote from women, then it's going to be all up to the men. And maybe the wife doesn't really agree. Won't have any say in that. Now, how does it affect us in Canada? Because it's easy for us to look at this and criticize it from a Canadian perspective and go, well, that's the States, that's not us. Well, no, it actually is creeping into Canada, except in a little different way. It says, while the American Parent Organization does not fund activities north of the border, the Turning Point model has increasingly been adopted by Canadian conservative activists to counter progressive policies on Canadian university campuses. And there we have it, it's starting to creep into some of our universities. The primary way Turning Point operates in Canada is through student-led university chapters. These groups use the branding and playbook of the American movement but function independently. So they don't call themselves the Turning Point, but they follow many of the same beliefs. And it's in Ontario, it's out west. It is already creeping into many. And it's creeping into universities, some universities that have more rightist roots or more Christian influence in them. And they go on. It has creeped into Alberta. This is not a surprise. But it is here in Ontario as well. Ideological and narrative spillover, it says. Imported rhetoric. Basically, they take the same thing that's being said in the United States by the Turning Point group, and they use that and make it sound like it's Canadian, like it's more, they alter it a little bit to conform to so it doesn't stand way out against Canadian values, but it creeps into that. And the pink pill. Canadian conservative women frequently attend Turning Point's flagship American conferences, bringing the movement's anti-feminist traditional lifestyle aesthetics back to Canadian digital spaces. I would call them traitors, and they shouldn't get back across the border. And these are stupid women. Sorry, but they are. They're very easily misled. I mean, how can supporting what Turning Point represents, how can that help better a woman's life in the modern world? I just don't get it. Now they say there's obstacles for why this in Canada isn't having as much success because, one, there's funding in the United States for this from the extreme right. In Canada, they're not getting any money or not enough money that is significant. Our political culture is different than Americans' ideology. We are a diversified country. We have many, many different cultures within our culture that believe different things, and we support that in Canada. in the United States right now, that's not being supported. Yeah, so that is what Turning Point is. And I think we need to be afraid, very afraid. And ladies, this is a direct attack on you and on your rights. I can't believe that anybody, any woman, any thinking woman would buy into this at all. And if they do, they're stupid. I said it, there it is. They are stupid. So it's scary that what Margaret Atwood wrote over 40 years ago, almost 50 years ago, is now becoming even more real than it ever was before. So let's see, what are people saying? Because I'm sure people have opinions, and let's share them. Let's see.
Okay, we got the reduce the force to throw the bottle there.
Oh, okay.
Adam's those.
So normal,
yeah.
Adam makes follow. P.S. Speedomaker says 40,000 members of the Tartan Army Scotland has descended on Boston for the World Cup. Oh, okay. It has been an incredibly positive experience for everyone in Boston. They are drinking the city dry, but they are so well behaved. Everyone seems to be really enjoying the experience. So we're back to FIFA on that one. That's nice. It's not going to change my mind about it. Carol says, you've just described many states in the U.S. At least one state wants a pregnancy registry. Miscarriages are investigated as possible abortions. Women, doctors, and others are scared. That's also in the book. That kind of thing. Darcy says, I'm interested in how you taught this book and what the kids had to say. I was just watching the Testaments this weekend. I taught the book in exactly the way it should be taught. We discussed the issues. It was taught at the senior level of the, like, grade 12s, and these were university bound students. Okay, so these were the, smarter ones or whatever. You'd be surprised how astute high school students can be with issues like this. They found it scary at the time, but they drew a lot of parallels on their own to, at that time. Now, I haven't been in the classroom in 14 years. So at that time, 14 years ago, they were drawing parallels to our society and other societies that, and the possibilities of it in the future. So we talk, it is a rich book in terms of classroom discussion, because there's so many issues in the book that you can talk about, and we did. Ruth says, Turning Point USA, led by Erica Kirk. It's a cult. Yes, definitely. Stepford Wives. Yep, for sure. It is very scary. I'm worried for all women. We need to be worried for all women. Yes. And men who are very sexist and who do not see women as equals, men who emotionally, mentally, intellectually, and physically abuse women, these are the types of men who are hiding behind Christian ideology to push this agenda through. So, yeah, we need to be worried about this. Darcy says, these women can choose to be trade wives and give up their power, but the rest of us choose differently. Yes.
Until you start getting forced into it.
Yes. And I mean, everybody has so far, yes, you can shape your own destiny to a point, but it's becoming more and more difficult in the United States to do that. And I'm sorry, but I know a lot of women, unfortunately, who do not stand up to their husbands, who will say, and I'm going to talk about my own mother about it. My mother would look at this like Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. Oh, fiddly-dee, I'll think about that tomorrow. Which really is a way of just saying, I will just let it happen. and we'll see how it works out. It'll all work out. No, it won't. We can't sit back and allow these kind of things to take over. That's what Margaret Atwood said. People did not do anything about in the society in the book to counterbalance it until it was too late. So people need to be aware. And in this case, women need to fight this battle. Women are very strong. They always have been. Women have an incredible influence on the direction society follows. Let's remember, a child's first contact when they're born is with their mother. Who is around a child the most in their early years of development? The mother. She can have a tremendous influence on teaching her child what is right and what is wrong in the early stages of life. So she has a powerful influence there. And so use it. Women should be using it. If a woman sees something that is wrong against other women, they shouldn't wait for a man to correct it, because guess what? A man won't correct it. Because a man doesn't understand. We are not women. We don't know exactly what women feel, as women do not understand how men feel. So women need to get across what their real feelings are. And you know, I hate to bring it up this way, but there's a lot of women who stay in abusive relationships. And you can make all the excuses in the world for why they stay in an abusive relationship. They can't get out. They don't have any money for that. They don't know where to go. They have no support. They have children to think about. Yes, all of those things are factors. But why do they keep going back time and time again and getting beat up physically or emotionally? They need to stand up. There are resources for them. But what I'm saying about that is, and that's a whole other topic, but what I'm saying is basically women can do something about this. Don't depend on the rest of society to help you out on this, because it's already been proven society doesn't at all. So, you know, call them out. Keep fighting. If you believe that there is a place in our society for something like abortion, then say so. Don't just keep your thoughts to yourself and see how it works out. No, because nobody can read your mind. So how do they know what you think? They don't. You need to express it. You've got to fight for what you want. It's what I say about transgenders. Transgender people have relied upon gay and lesbians to do the fight for them. And we have, to a point. But they also need to stand up and fight for themselves as well. You know, yeah, and I think it starts with how you feel about yourself. In the case of transgenders, you are what you are. Live it, regardless of what anybody else says. If somebody tries to attack you because of this, whichever way they do, you take it to the authorities and you fight for your rights. The same with women. Fight for your rights. You worked so hard 100 years ago and through the last 100 years to get to a point where women are can be seen as successful people. But see the success in yourselves first. Don't measure who you are by what somebody else says they think you are. And I think that goes not just for women, that goes for all human beings, for that matter. You know, social media does us a lot of damage. And I'm glad to see that the governments are finally a little too late, but are starting to make some legislation about, you know, young people using social media. Social media has been one of the major causes for suicide among young people. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they can't live up to the standards that they think they're supposed to live up to, and that means physically They're supposed to have this great life. They're supposed to look hot all the time. And they see all these influencers on social media telling them that. Well, guess what? There's a whole lot of influencers in the adult world as well. Like, what's her name? Erica Kirk. Oh, she's a Barbie doll. She's got the makeup going. She's got the slender figure. She's wearing the nice dress. She's a good speaker. She knows how to manipulate the language in order to convince people that what she's saying is right. Yeah, no. It's scary. Quilter says the Amish only educate to grade 9. Yeah, that's stupid. But they were a closed society. I mean, we could debate what they're doing, but the fact is they do have a right. The extreme right Christian groups have a right to believe in what they believe in. What they don't have a right to do is force their beliefs upon other people. They have the right to believe in what they want to believe in. They just don't have the right to enforce their values on other people. It's the same with any organized religion. You know, you go ahead. If that's working for you, you do it. Don't expect me to do it. Not my cup of tea. Totally agree, Miss Darcy. I was a trade wife for the first 5 years my kids were born. Once they hit school age, I couldn't get a job fast enough. My life, my choice. We all turned out okay. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
But to be forced into that.
Yeah.
Where you are told you can't work after birth or something like that. Or if you're a single mother. Like, I mean, there's lots of single mothers out there. I mean, in this society, they're basically saying you're going to have to take a husband.
Yeah. And that's not right. That's wrong. Kim's here. Hi, Kim. Darcy says, Erica Kirk is this generation's Phyllis Schlafly?
Yeah.
And Anita Bryant put together. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who Phyllis is, but Anita Bryant we know. Carol says, Idaho has proposed genetic tests to enter public restrooms. That, and then it gets crazy. It gets crazy. Everybody poops. And I have no problem with a transgender person using my washroom publicly. What I have a problem with is the way that public washrooms are designed, and they're changing that a lot. All public washrooms should be nothing but cubicles, little closets.
Yeah, like there's some restaurants we've been in more recently that they'll have like 4 bathrooms, and they're all, anybody can use them.
Anybody can use them.
They're single bathrooms.
Yeah, what we call single holers. Yeah. It's a bathroom. What do they think? What's the problem there? Let's see. Ruth says it's all about power and control wrapped up in religion and political ideology. Of course it is. Of course it is. Irrationally should have realized that he was just a hideous man. Are we talking about Trump?
Anyway.
Quilter says, worry for humankind, not just women. Yes. Yeah, because this affects men too. But I mean, I just saw that this was the targeted audience, was women in this turning point thing, which was really scary. Darcy says, agree. These turning point values are becoming the law slowly and rights are being removed. Yep. Jen says, our government recently prohibited under 16-year-olds from having Facebook accounts here in Australia. Yes, and our government is using that as a model and are doing the same thing as well right now, currently under that, which I think is a very good thing. And they interviewed a few kids. This is a little off topic, but they interviewed a few kids about this, and they didn't seem to be too worried. You know why? Kids don't use Facebook. Adults do. Now, the kids all have some other alternative. And I think it might be group chats on text messages, or something like that.
Phyllis Schlafly or whatever
Yeah.
fought against women's rights in the 70s.
Oh, I have never heard of her. No. Gloria Steinem, yes, but her, no. No, there was a comment above the irrational comment. Oh, okay. It's kind of gone by with me. Could someone explain to me what a trade wife is? I've kind of seen that before, but or trad wife. Does that stand for something like trophy wife, or is that what it is? Because
I have heard of that before.
I've heard of it, but I'm not really sure what the definition of it is. Maybe someone knows here and can tell us. Yeah, so anyways, moving on. It's food for thought, people. And I think in this day and age, we need to be very thoughtful about what is happening to all of us. And when I say all of us, it's not just Americans. It's happening to us in Canada.
Short for traditional wife.
Oh, okay. Traditional wife. Oh, okay. I get it now. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah, she just said traditional.
Oh, okay. All these short forms. I blame it on the internet.
OMG.
Oh. WTF. I know that one. So, anyways, food for thought. Think about it. So this week's comments. I had a couple that I just pulled out that I thought were interesting. Noni Nones said, separatists should look up the story of Rough and Ready in California. This city want to leave the state. They were quite surprised to find that they would lose fire, police, and ambulance services. I don't know what Rough and Ready is. I don't know if that's the name of a place in California or whatever. But basically the point that's here is separatists don't think far enough ahead. If a province in Canada was to separate and go their own way, they would lose everything, their infrastructure, everything, because there's so much federal money that is put into that. So, I mean, it's ludicrous to think that you can just up and leave a country. You're part of it. Not going to happen. And obviously, there is precedent to show what happens, according to this. And then we were talking earlier about pronouns. So, one person, Pam, she said they, them. I read an article once with someone that identified she and another that identified as they. Later in the article, they was used, and I didn't know if it was she and they or just they. I suppose the verb probably told me, but I just don't want to work that hard. It, as a pronoun, is not great either. I'd like a singular non-binary pronoun, please. Honestly, I have since high school when we had to use one and rearrange the whole sentence to make it work. Yes, pronouns are hard. And yesterday we were trying to be friendly to Noah. That was there, and there was no reason why we shouldn't be. And Noah was a very nice person and the whole bit. But we didn't want to offend Noah, so we didn't have the pronoun discussion. So when we were talking about Noah, or to Noah, to somebody else, we would consciously try to say they and them. And you hesitate because grammatically speaking, it's incorrect. It's a plural pronoun and it's a singular person you're referring to. So it takes some practice. Now, I know that many transgendered people that I have met, they will tell you their name, and in most cases you can say their name and get away with it. Or they will be polite and they might correct you, or they'll just start off, hi, my name is whatever, and my pronouns are they and them. So you know, transgender, okay, and this is what I will try to use. When I've had someone say that to me, I'll say to them, I respect the fact that this is what you want to use, and I will definitely try to use them. But I said, I'm sorry if I slip up. Old habit, okay? It's going to take me some time to use that. And they usually go, that's okay. Not to worry with it. But you do run into a militant one every now and then.
Yeah, actually, it would be easier if it was a separate word that doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm. That grammatically works. But like it doesn't. It would be an insult. So, yeah. So, I guess we're still in evolution about that with the language. Good thing, at least in English. English is a living language. It means that it can adapt and change given circumstances that happen within our society. Okay, so that's it. Today was a little hot and heavy, but then when aren't we? Sometimes like that. So I guess any other things on your mind you'd like to mention, say, or whatever. Everybody's telling us it's their traditional wife now, so we know what that is
Okay.
for sure.
I looked it up.
We've looked that up, our Funkin' Wagon. Yeah. Okay, well, that's the end of our time right now. So thanks for joining us today for this. I hope it was
Unusual
enlightening.
discussion. Yeah.
I hope it was enlightening to some of you. I really do. Because it's something I think we need to know. Because it could have...
And if you haven't watched Handmaid's Tale yet, you should
watch it.
watch it.
For sure. Watch it. And by the way, I said to Walter, Erica Kirk is a spitting image for Serena Joy in the book, the way she's described in the book. And her mannerisms, the way she looks. And I know if you haven't read the book, you won't understand that reference. But if you read the book, keep that in mind. Okay, everybody. Have a good weekend. Tune in next week to everything else that we put up. And yeah, we'll talk to you later. Say goodbye.